What's happening, people? Back with another reaction, back with some more Bad Religion, and we're going back to a song from their 2004, or is it 2005? It is 2004 album, The Empire Strikes First. We're going to listen to a tune that actually features Sage Francis, a socially conscious MC and hip hop artist. I don't know if he's done stuff recently. In the early 2000s and up to like maybe the early 2010s, I know he was active. I haven't seen anything from him recently, but admittedly, I don't follow his career super closely, so he may still be making music, but yeah, I'm a big fan of his tunes. I reacted to one of his songs. It was actually a remix, but he did a tune called Down Gandhi, which is very indicative of his style and his lyrical themes. So check that reaction if you're interested. But yeah, he makes an appearance on this song with Bad Religion. And this is from the period when I think Sage Francis was really kind of early 2000s is when I remember him sort of like, hitting the scene in the sense that his tunes, came to my attention through some friends of mine who also listen to punk rock. So I think this is when Sage Francis was really sort of like making a name for himself. So it makes sense that he would show up on a punk album because I think a lot of his lyrics, fit very well with a lot of themes and sort of values that a lot of punk bands express. And indeed, this song gets at some of the same issues that Down Gandhi speaks to, which is to say, we're going to listen to a tune called Let Them Eat War. This is a concept that a number of bands have touched on. I even mentioned it when I talked about this song in a different Bad Religion reaction, that like System of a Down, their BYOB, I think it's a song with a number of similar themes and one in particular. But yeah, this song gets at the way that it's in the context of the United States, but it's another one where I think like you can apply it in a very specific context, but it also applies to, national leaders and like political parties and so on more broadly. But yeah, it's a song about the way in which war, a sort of national conflict between two nation states, is useful to elites of nation states for a number of reasons. Like, first of all, if there's any like class or like socioeconomic problems in the country, poor people, like unions, unionization, fighting against, sort of like the corporate masters and so on. If there's a lot of class conflict in a country, well, a war, which is a foreign enemy, people who look differently, maybe speak differently, maybe have different values, different religions, and so on, it's an easy way for elites to try to bring everybody together and to stop complaining about how things aren't great here. It's an easy way to, give people a boogeyman or a bogeyman, depending on how you say it. I know the original phrase is bogeyman, but here in the U.S. everybody says boogeyman, so I'm not sure what that's about. But regardless, it's this sort of an other, a them that can be used to say, well, like, look, I know you don't like the way your boss treats you, and he's sort of a dictator at your job and whatever. But look, you guys are both Americans, and you're both like on our side when it comes to these other people who don't like America and they don't like you or you or you. So it's a convenient way to sort of whip up nationalist sentiment. Which again, I've talked about that in a couple Bad Religion reactions, including the last one that I reacted to from New Maps of Hell. But yeah, it's a way to whip up nationalist sentiment, and ultimately, it serves more than those purposes alone for the elites, because what it also does is, again, you can send poor people to fight the battles. You want to make some geopolitical development happen. Well, you don't actually have to be the one to go put your life on the line or to go, sacrifice yourself. You get poor people who, yeah, sign up for the military, you'll get benefits and so on. Okay, now we're going to ship you over here to do this thing, which might even be ethically dubious, but, you'll be the vehicle for our success. So it's like, you take away the problems with poor people complaining about conditions here, you send them off to do your own dirty work in some other country, and ultimately, you gotta build planes, you gotta build bombs, and so on. So war economies do tend to generate a lot of economic activity, but as the song points out, that doesn't benefit the poor people. Those profits go to the defense contractors who get, great grants and contracts from their friends in government, in Congress, and so on. So the poor people who are sent to die in these wars, who are sent to be the agents of dubious, like, geopolitical aims, they don't benefit here, but they get their minds kind of whipped up in nationalist fervor, even though the song makes the point, wait, but this isn't really what they voted for, isn't it? Like, they're just trying to get through life, and, work enough to take care of themselves and their family, and maybe someone offered them what seemed like that kind of life, but then suddenly that same politician is saying, oh well, we need people to go over here and fight this battle over here, so you should enlist, you should sign up. So essentially the song is saying, let them eat war. It's a phrase which basically means that poor people are often used to do the sort of dirty work of nation states. They don't reap the benefits of those wars and conflicts, either domestically in terms of who's making the profits from the war economy, or in the foreign lands. Like once the geopolitical aim has been achieved, the foot soldiers who went over there and sort of made that happen, they're not going to benefit. They're not going to be the ones who get the redevelopment contracts and so on. So it's a song about the way like the military-industrial complex is used for cultural, social, and geopolitical purposes by, the sort of like the ruling class of the United States, if you will. And again, I think it's a song which you could apply to far more than just the United States, even though, it's the clear example in this case study. But again, I think the themes at play you can see happen in countries all around the world and, centuries going back through recorded history, certainly like in the modern era. So yeah, basically it's a song that addresses a number of issues related to war and sort of, economically disadvantaged people and the way that these processes of war and nationalist sentiment and so on. And in fact, like one of the lines of the song is like, I think it's the lead into the chorus, or maybe I think it's the lead out of the chorus. But it's like, it's a way to deal with declining pride. This idea that like, if people aren't as proud of their country anymore, if people feel like there's way too many problems, well again, you give them a foreign enemy, and maybe that makes them close ranks and, okay, well, my boss is sort of a prick, and this guy that I voted for is now doing things which don't benefit me, but I guess they are closer to me than that person over there who seems scary and they're telling me doesn't like me, so I guess I got to go along with this, and you know what, yeah, I will go fight for and die for that. So yeah, it gets at a very complex series of issues related to warfare, the military-industrial complex, and socioeconomic policies and culture in the United States, but also more broadly. I'll shut up now. But like I said, the song does feature Sage Francis. He comes in, I think, about 2/3 of the way through. He drops a verse, and then after he drops a verse, which again, it fits very much with his style already, and his lyrical sort of themes, he and Greg sort of go back and forth in kind of it's like a refrain. It's not really the chorus, but yeah, they go back and forth, which is nice. It's like, punk rock vocalists and sort of politically conscious MC from hip hop sort of, making music together. It's fantastic. So let's get to it. This is from the Empire Strikes First album, 2004. This is Bad Religion, Let Them Eat War.
People aren't looking for a handout. They're America's working core.
like this intro or the interlude a lot. Feels a bit different than a lot of Bad Religion like solos or interludes. But maybe it's because what's about to happen here.
At a job site, the boss is godlike. Conditioned workhorses park at a stoplight. Seasoned vets with their feet in nets. A stone's thrown away from a rock fight. But not tonight. Feed them dead. Here comes another ration. Feed them dead. Cause they're the finest in the nation. Feed them dead. But it's nothing at the beat of what is it's freedom. What is dead? Let there be more. Let there be more. That's how you ration the poor. Let there be more. Let there be more. There's an urgent need to be.
It's funny, as I was listening to that song, I was noticing the drums for some reason because of the way they'd come in double time and then go back to regular time and then back to double time and back to regular time during the choruses. It made me wonder, is this the period where Brooks Wackerman has joined the group, or was that for New Maps of Hell? I know they have a metal, or a drummer who comes from the world of metal originally now, but for a long time I know Brooks Wackerman was their drummer like post 2000. I just don't remember exactly when he came in, because it was Bobby Shayer at first, and then forget who the second drummer is, or maybe Shayer was the second drummer. I'm actually like blanking on their drummer pedigree, which is, to be fair, most people know, like when it comes to rock bands in general, metal bands maybe even more specifically, but punk bands too, drummers do seem to be the most replaced part. Like it seems like bands go through drummers much more regularly than they go through, lead singers or guitarists, bassists, and so on. But yeah, like I said, I know Brooks Wackerman, who had been with the Vandals before that, at some point in the 2000s came into Bad Religion's lineup. I just don't know if it was here or it wasn't until they got to New Maps of Hell that he was involved. But whoever was on the drums, I did notice them during the track, and they had, like, again, a good rhythm, and I like the alternation, I like the composition of the percussion. And yeah, like I said, I think that's a really cool feature to have Sage Francis on this album, and the idea that Sage Francis and Bad Religion, two things I like a lot, but from very different sort of musical worlds coming together. That's fantastic. So yeah, if you do know Sage Francis, let me know. Is he still making albums, or is he kind of, walked away from making music for a little while? Because it feels like I haven't seen anything new, but that just could be because I haven't been paying super close attention. And yeah, let me know what you think of this song. Again, I think it's a song that, like, a lot of different sort of progressive punk bands have written, like, one version of or another. As I mentioned, System of a Down is sort of like metal, like, I mean, they're metal, but they're like metal unlike a lot of other metal bands. I'm not even sure what you would call their style of metal. They kind of have like their own sound, but they have a song that addresses this. Why do they always send the poor? Like, why do they always send the poor? So yeah, I think in terms of the sentiment and the sonics, again, I like that interlude because it kind of had the feel of a lot of Bad Religion instrumental interlude or like guitar solo sections, but it kind of like it softened and it kind of became like a little like more open and airy, and like you could feel that something was going to come in there, like a sort of special edition. So I think maybe the way the song was arranged was partially a product of having a guest like MC on the track. So yeah, let me know what you think of this one. Other than that, I will see you next time.